I first have to say that when I started on this flat bow that's recurved, if you've watched like a lot of my videos, you remember I bought this stave on eBay. It's like nothing. I think it was like $35 in free shipping. It was, I need to look up that seller again. But it was this weird looking, very thin, goofy stave that I didn't know if I could get a bow out of it, right? It has a knot, it's got all these ginks. He worked it down almost to one growth ring. I think I had to go through a maximum of just 3 to get it to one growth ring. And it was thin, which kind of lended itself to a flat bow. But it was kind of an ugly piece of Osage. And when I roughed out this bow, it's like, oh my gosh. You know, with the roller coasters and this goofy knot that's kind of flat there. This, that, another thing. Oh my gosh, there's no way I can make a nice looking bow out of this. But I just kind of charged ahead, knowing that as you progress in making a bow, just with the taper, you know, and if you flatten it out, the taper in the face, that as I go step by step by step, it's going to be nicer and nicer and nicer. And it's true. I've really grown to like this. This is it is a beautiful bow now, but it's going to be even more beautifuler. You know, I've got the ginks out so it's this way and it'll have a nice looking tiller, and like it's just pretty. I really like this bow. Now I created this jig. I've got a block here and a block here, and on the opposite side a block there, because I needed to put pretty major side bend in it. Now I did correct it quite a bit. It was off 3 inches, and I've measured it. It's off like an inch from perfect now, and the tips aren't like that anymore. They're like this. Everything is straight and hunky-dory. But check this out. I've got it in this orientation. I need to flex this limb like a half an inch to get it in, because it's, listen, see? It's kind of tight in there. Now I'm going to rotate it, and keep in mind, this isn't going to create a straight bow. I had to create a jig to overbend it. You know, so when I heat shape it, and so I've got it probably a little more than an inch off as far as tip, center handle tip. It's loose this way, and it's a little tight this way. But the nice thing is, I've already hit this with the heat, right? But the nice thing is, look at that, it sits flat in here. When I first put this in the jig before I baked it to straighten it out, I could not do that because it would just pop up. As a matter of fact, if you were watching me put the clamps on this thing, you would have heard some bad language, because it would have taken like 3 hands and my Jorgensen clamps to get this thing to sit in here like that. And now it's pretty darn nice. You know, so I've made a ton of progress. Now, could I just go with this without trying to like make it perfectly straight? Yeah. These are going to be non-contact recurves, which means when, let's fully demonstrate it. When it's strung, it'll be like this. Contact recurves, it would be like this, which means that it's more imperative that the string lines perfectly straight down. But with non-contact recurves, this very well could line up perfectly. But with non-contact recurves, you know, it's not as much of a thing. Now with contact recurves, where it's sitting like this when you string it, there's less of a force to pull the recurve out of it. See, because I'm pushing straight down. The forces are going down along the recurve. Non-contact recurves, look at that. It's trying to pull it out constantly. You string it, it's trying to pull those recurves out. So the sinew will save me. If this was not sinew backed, you know, if these weren't, I'm not going to get into that. Static versus bending. It's not about this. Let's just go back to this straightening of the bow. Even though this is a non-contact recurve, I want to have this thing straight. I want to be able to do this and then do this. I'm also, before I hit this with heat again, I need to visually think of this, because this last bit right here goes off this way. So it might be deceptive. I might have to really think my way through here. Maybe it is dead straight. Because of this curve here, oh my goodness. This is just going to add another level of... You're watching me be stumped. Let's just set that there and take the string. This might be a fool's errand. Let's put this in here. Make sure it's completely... Line up that. Let's get it. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know everything all the time. Even though it doesn't fit symmetrical in this, because this tip goes off. Oh my goodness. This video shouldn't have been made. Wow, in my attempt to reheat it and straighten it, I might have thrown it off. I think it is straight. But let's say that my tip doesn't go whang beyond this black. First of all, I made good progress. It just sits in there. It just snaps in there. I could possibly take a shim. Watch this. It still wants to sit in there. You know, shim it, bring it even more out, and then reheat it. But Jiminy Cricket, Jiminy whatever. I think that it's deceptive because beyond this block right here, the limb is going off, and checking it this way and making sure. Heck. Forget I said all that stuff. I think I'm good. Let's drag some useful information out of here. You got to straighten a bow, make a jig. Okay, there we go. Next up, in years past, we need to speak eye to eye here. In years past, when I heat shaped stuff, Osage, also did it with oak, I would grease it. I think it helps. And then I would get it hot over my electric range, because I had an electric range like forever. Nice, controllable, very consistent heat. Electric ranges are nice for heat shaping these things. I have a greasy bow, shaped to my will. And I would wash that grease off and soapify it with Red Devil Lye. Very dangerous tactic. Wear old clothes, because you might splash it on them, ruin them. Always wear goggles and always wear rubber gloves, and be extremely careful and use glass containers and rinse carefully. Using Red Devil Lye, and I've got a video out there, and a spoiler is I told you less concentration than I personally use. I use if a little is good, a lot is better. The guy's creed. Does a couple things. It degreases the bow so much better than detergent and hot water. And it also soapifies stuff. That's how you make lye soap. Lye, extremely basic. Fat makes soap. And so that is an extremely effective way to prepare, especially mulberry and osage and oily wood, for bonding the glue to the back. It's very effective. And it's also kind of cool because it changes the color slightly. When you rinse off the lye after you degreased it and saltified it, it runs off yellow. And that was always very cool to me. And when you do that to oak, it makes the oak very dark. It's kind of like wood alchemy. But yeah, think about that. All these steps you follow, all this fine detail, and then the last real critical thing is getting Osage bonded to the glue bonded to the Osage sinew, and it's oily wood and it doesn't really like to bond that well, but using Red Devil lye carefully, do not kill yourself doing that. It's a good way to do it. Well, I don't know. That's about it. Oh, I'm going to run to the transfer station here. Bring my chainsaw and look for a log because tree guys drop their stuff out there. About this big around. Hopefully it's cedar because, you know, lighter. Take my chainsaw, kind of shape the end, make it a bowl so my rock that I pound sinew on will fit in there, and then cut it off. It needs to be a big enough diameter log to sit, you know, careful without falling over while I'm pounding sinew hour after hour because I got to do like 30 tendons for all these bows that I have. And cut the log off so when it's sitting on the concrete floor, I can sit in the chair, be as comfortable as possible because this old body doesn't take the repetitive activities like that like it used to. And I'm hoping that that log that the rock is sitting on will also deaden the sound so the neighbors and my wife don't have to hear, you know, 6 straight hours of pounding on tendons. So that's kind of tricky. Yeah. Okay. I'm done. Thank you for watching. Maybe you got something out of this. If nothing else, using lye carefully. Research that. Old clothes, goggles, rubber gloves. You know, to degrease Osage bows. Maybe the idea for the rock sitting on a log, sound deadening. And definitely, you know, I can reach all over the place, and I've got fixtures, and I've got jigs all over the place. You can certainly just use heat in your knee and stuff like that, but you know, at this stage in my life, I'm a jig kind of guy. Yeah. Yeah,